I left my sick fiancé to party with the boys. They destroyed me. I thought they were friends. They were predators waiting for him to leave. My name is Cassidy Vane. I am 29 years old. And I haven't stepped outside my front door in 6 months. I live in a beautiful house in Seattle. It has cedar siding, big windows, and a view of the Sound. It belongs to my fiancé, Ethan Holloway. Well, technically it belongs to his parents, but they gave it to him when he started his PhD program. Ethan is 32. He is brilliant. He is studying theoretical physics. He spends his days looking at equations that explain how the universe holds together. He is quiet. He is steady. He is the kind of man who fixes things before they break. I was different. I worked in PR. My job was easy. I sent emails, I went to lunches, I managed optics. I liked noise. I liked crowds. I liked being the center of attention. And I liked my boys. I had a friend group. 5 guys. We called ourselves the Wolf Pack. We had known each other since college. There was Brody King, the ringleader. He was loud, rich, and always paid for the bottle service. Ethan hated them. It wasn't a quiet dislike. It was a visceral, protective hatred. And looking back, he had every reason to hate them. I remember our 3rd anniversary. Ethan had planned a quiet dinner at a French bistro. Just us. He had bought a vintage bottle of wine. He was going to talk to me about his thesis defense. Halfway through the appetizers, my phone buzzed. It was Brody. We're at the bar next door. Come have a shot. I should have ignored it. Instead, I texted back, we're eating. Come say hi. 10 minutes later, Brody King and Mark Trent walked into our romantic dinner. They pulled up chairs without asking. They ate Ethan's fries. They ordered shots of tequila that Ethan didn't want. Ethan went silent. He watched Brody put his arm around the back of my chair. You know, Cass, Brody said, loud enough for the whole restaurant to hear. If you ever get bored of the professor here, you know where to find a real partner. Ethan put his fork down. He looked at Brody with eyes like ice. Get your hand off her chair, Brody, Ethan said calmly. Brody laughed. Relax, Einstein. We have history. We're just playing. Cass knows I'm joking, right, Cass? I laughed. I actually laughed. I nudged Ethan under the table. Baby, don't be so serious. Brody is just a joker. He's like my brother. Ethan stood up. He threw cash on the table. I'm leaving. You can stay with your brother. He walked out. I stayed for another hour. He doesn't look at you like a brother, Ethan told me later that night when I finally came home. They aren't your friends, Cass. They're circling you. They don't respect our relationship. They're just waiting for an opening. You're just jealous, I said, brushing him off. They protect me. They don't protect you, Ethan said, looking up from his books. They isolate you. And I don't like the way they look at you when you drink. It's predatory. But Ethan was respectful. He wasn't controlling. He never told me I couldn't go. He just told me he wouldn't go with me. He hated the clubs. He hated the posturing. So we had a routine. I would go out with the pack. Ethan would stay home and study. I would stumble home at 2 a.m. and he would have a glass of water and 2 Advil waiting on the nightstand. I thought we had the perfect balance. I had my freedom. I had my safety net. I didn't realize that a safety net only works if you don't cut the ropes. One Friday in November, the balance shifted. Brody was throwing a warehouse party. It was going to be exclusive. No phones allowed. Just the pack in the inner circle. I was excited. I bought a new dress, silver, backless, dangerous. At 4 p.m., Ethan came home early from the lab. He looked gray. He was shivering. "Cass," he said, his teeth chattering. "I think I have the flu. My fever is 103. He collapsed onto the sofa. He looked small. He looked vulnerable. "I need you," he whispered. "Can you stay? Can you just make soup and sit with me? I feel like I'm burning up. My head is splitting." I looked at him. Then I looked at my silver dress hanging on the door. I felt a flash of annoyance. Why now? Why tonight? "Ethan, it's just a fever," I said, checking my reflection. "Take some Tylenol. You'll sleep through it. This party is a one-time thing." Brody booked a DJ from Berlin. Everyone is going to be there. "Cassidy, please," Ethan said. He reached for my hand. His skin was burning hot. "I'm asking you. Don't go. I don't want you going to that place alone. Not with them. Not tonight." "You're being dramatic," I pulled my hand away. "You're sick, so you want me to be miserable too." "I'm going. I'll be back by 2. Don't wait up." I walked out. I left him shivering on the couch. I didn't kiss him goodbye. I didn't want to mess up my lipstick. I got into the Uber. I texted Brody, "On my way. Solo." Brody texted back, "Finally." I should have turned around. Before I tell you how I lost everything, I have a question. Is your personal fun worth ignoring your partner's pain? Hit that like button if you would have stayed home, and subscribe to see why you should never leave your safety net. The party was in an industrial district. Loud bass. Smoke machines. It smelled like expensive cologne and bad intentions. The pack was there waiting. Brody, Mark, Jason, and the others. They cheered when I walked in. "There she is," Brody shouted, handing me a drink. It was a vodka soda. Already poured. The ice clinked against the glass. The runaway bride. "Ethan's sick," I rolled my eyes, taking the cup. "He's such a baby about it. He wanted me to stay home and play nurse. I told him to grow up." "Forget him," Brody said, putting his arm around my waist. His grip was firm. "Tonight is about us. Tonight you're free. No curfews. No professors." I drank. I danced. I felt the bass thumping in my chest. I felt wanted. But as the night went on, the atmosphere shifted. It wasn't the usual chaotic fun. It was calculated. Usually, the guys were protective. They would form a circle around me on the dance floor to keep strangers away. Tonight, the circle felt tighter. It felt confining. Every time I tried to go to the bathroom, Mark Trent was there. "I'll walk you," he'd say. Every time I tried to get water, Jason Lee was there. "Here, have another vodka. Live a little." They were isolating me. They were cutting off my exits. By 11 p.m., I felt dizzy. Not drunk dizzy. This was different. My vision was swimming. The lights were leaving trails. My legs felt heavy, like they were filled with wet cement. The room started to tilt on its axis. I need to sit down, I slurred. I dropped my plastic cup. It splashed onto my silver shoes. Come on, Brody said. His voice sounded far away, like he was speaking underwater. Let's go to the VIP lounge. It's quieter. You just need to rest. We've got you. He guided me. Or maybe he dragged me. I couldn't tell. My feet were dragging on the concrete floor. We went into a back room. It was dark. There were leather sofas. No windows. The bass from the party was muffled here, sounding like a heartbeat. I sat down. The room spun violently. Then I saw Mark lock the door. The sound of the lock clicking shut echoed in my head. Click. It was the loudest sound in the world. What are you doing? I mumbled. My tongue felt too big for my mouth. Where's Ethan? Call Ethan. Ethan isn't here, Brody whispered. He was right next to my ear. I could smell the tequila on his breath. Ethan can't save you tonight. You left him, remember? You chose us. That was the last thing I heard clearly. The rest is fragments. Nightmares. Flash. The texture of the leather sofa against my cheek. Flash. The weight of a body. Too heavy. Too strong. Flash. A hand over my mouth. Flash. Me trying to scream, but my voice was paralyzed by the drugs. I kept waiting for Ethan. I kept waiting for him to burst through the door, like he always did when I called for a ride. I kept waiting for the hero. But I hadn't called. I had told him he was dramatic. I had left him burning with fever. He wasn't coming. Nobody was coming. I woke up the next morning in a park 3 miles away. My dress was torn. My phone was gone. It was raining. I walked to a gas station. I borrowed the clerk's phone. I called Ethan. He picked up on the first ring. His voice was raspy, weak. He had been up all night, sick and worried. Cass, where are you? Ethan, I sobbed. Help me. Please. He came. He was still sick. He was pale as a ghost, shivering behind the wheel of his motor. But he came. He took me to the hospital. He held my hand while they did the rape kit. He held a bucket while I threw up charcoal. He answered the police questions when I couldn't speak. He was perfect. He was the protector I didn't deserve. The investigation was fast. The Wolf Pack weren't masterminds. They were arrogant. They had filmed parts of it. They were arrested within 48 hours. The trial took 6 months. I had to sit there and listen to the evidence. And that's when the knife twisted deeper. The prosecutor read Brody King's text messages. Group chat, the pack. November 12th. Brody, she's coming alone. The boyfriend is out of the picture tonight. Mark, finally. Is the stuff ready? Brody, yeah. Tonight's the night. She thinks she's one of the boys. Let's show her she's not. Wait for the signal. It was planned. They hadn't just taken advantage of a drunk moment. They had been waiting. They had been waiting for months. They were waiting for the one night Ethan wasn't there to stop them. They knew I wouldn't listen to him. They counted on my selfishness. Ethan sat in the front row every day of the trial. He listened to every text. He saw every video. He never cried. He never looked at them. He just stared straight ahead, his jaw locked tight. He looked like he was solving an equation he couldn't balance. When the verdict came down, guilty, 15 years for Brody, 10 for the others, Ethan didn't cheer. He didn't hug me. He just stood up and offered me his arm. "Let's go home," he said. I thought we had survived. I thought this was the trauma that would bond us forever. The us against the world moment. I was wrong. I didn't just lose my friends. I lost my mind. After the trial, the adrenaline faded, and the panic set in. Agoraphobia. I remember the first time I tried to check the mail. It was a sunny Tuesday. I opened the front door. The air hit my face. Suddenly, my heart hammered so hard I thought my ribs would crack. 180 beats per minute. My vision tunneled. The mailbox, only 20 feet away, looked like it was across an ocean. I felt like there were eyes on me from every bush, every car. I couldn't breathe. My legs gave out. I collapsed on the porch, gasping, clawing at my throat. Ethan found me there 10 minutes later. He picked me up and carried me inside. "It's okay," he said. "You're safe." But I wasn't safe. The world wasn't safe. The only safe place was the house with the cedar siding. The only safe person was Ethan. I became a shadow. I quit my job. I stopped answering calls from my family. I spent my days moving from the bedroom to the living room. I waited for Ethan to come home from the lab. When he walked in the door, I would exhale. He's here. I'm safe. I needed him for everything. "Ethan, can you pick up my prescription?" "Ethan, can you order the groceries?" "Ethan, can you sit with me while I shower? I'm scared." And he did it. He did it all. He cooked. He cleaned. He managed my therapy appointments. He held me when I had nightmares. I tried to connect with him. I desperately wanted to feel close to him again. One night, we were watching a movie. I reached out and took his hand. I tried to interlace my fingers with his. He stiffened. It wasn't a subtle pull away. His whole body went rigid. He didn't squeeze back. He just let his hand lie there, limp and cold, until I slowly pulled mine away. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "It's fine," he said. But he didn't look at me. He stared at the TV screen, unblinking. I told myself it was my fault. I told myself he was traumatized too. I told myself, he loves me so much he's suffering with me. I apologized constantly. "I'm so sorry, Ethan. I'm sorry I went out that night. I'm sorry I was stupid." "It's okay," he would say. But he never looked me in the eye when he said it. He would look at my shoulder, or the wall. "You're safe now." I mistook duty for devotion. 6 months passed. My world was 2,000 square feet. Ethan was my universe. I started to feel a little better. I started to think about the future. Maybe a wedding. Maybe a fresh start. Then came the Tuesday. It was a rainy afternoon. Ethan had come home early for lunch. I was in the master bedroom, reading. I heard the front door open. I heard voices. It was Ethan and his sister, Sarah. Sarah rarely visited. She was a lawyer, sharp and protective of her little brother. They were in the kitchen. The acoustics in the house were strange. the vents carried sound perfectly to the bedroom. "You look terrible, Ethan," Sarah said. Her voice was sharp. "You've lost 20 pounds. You have dark circles under your eyes. You missed the conference in Geneva." "I'm fine," Ethan said. His voice sounded weary. So incredibly weary. "You're not fine. You're a nursemaid," Sarah snapped. "You're trapped in this house with a ghost. When is she going to leave?" My heart stopped. I put down my book. I crept to the vent. "She can't leave, Sarah," Ethan said. "She can't even walk to the mailbox without a panic attack. She has nowhere to go. Her parents are in Florida and they don't even believe in therapy. She has no job." "That's not your problem." Sarah lowered her voice, but it was still intense. "Ethan, she cheated on you. Maybe not physically that night, but emotionally. For years. She prioritized those guys over you. She ridiculed you. She left you with a 103-degree fever to go party with the men who, with them." "I know," Ethan said. "She abandoned you," Sarah pressed. "She chose them. And now that they broke her, she expects you to pick up the pieces. It's not fair. Do you even love her anymore?" I held my breath. I waited for him to defend me. I waited for him to say, "Of course I love her. She's a survivor. We're getting through this together." Silence. A long, heavy silence. Then, Ethan spoke. His voice was devoid of warmth. It was cold, logical, and devastating. "No," he said. "I don't love her. I haven't loved her since the moment she walked out that door in the silver dress." I clamped my hand over my mouth to stop the sob. "Then why are you still here?" Sarah asked gently. "Because of physics," Ethan said. "Cause and effect. If I kick her out now, she ends up on the street. She has no job. She has no mental stability. If I leave her, she dies. And I won't be the cause of that effect. So what? You just sacrifice your life? You give up Zurich?" "No," Ethan said. "The Zurich postdoc starts in 8 months. That's the timeline." "Zurich?" Sarah asked. "You're taking it?" "Yes," Ethan said. "It's perfect, Sarah. It's cold. It's clean. It's just numbers. No drama. No socialites. Just the math. I need that. I need to be somewhere where nothing breaks." "And her?" "She's on her own," Ethan said. "I'm just the bridge, Sarah. I'm getting her from the wreck to the shore. But I'm not staying on the beach with her." I heard the fridge open. I heard the sound of a soda can opening. "She thinks you're trauma bonded," Sarah said. "She thinks you're the hero." "It's not a bond," Ethan replied. "It's a debt. I failed to protect her that night. So I'll fix her. And then I'll release her. But I will never, ever trust her again. Every time I look at her, I don't see a victim. I see her laughing at me while I was sick. I see her choosing them. And frankly, I just want her gone." I crawled back into bed. I pulled the covers over my head. I shook so hard the bed frame rattled. I wanted to scream. I wanted to pack my bags and run. But I couldn't. My legs wouldn't work. The fear of the outside world was still stronger than the pain of his words. When Ethan came into the room 10 minutes later, he brought me a sandwich. "Hey," he said gently. "I brought you lunch. Turkey and Swiss." I cut the crusts off. He sat on the edge of the bed. He stroked my hair. "How are you feeling today?" he asked. I looked at him. I looked at his tired eyes. I looked at the man I thought was my soulmate. He wasn't my husband. He was my doctor. He was my warden. He was my guilt. "I'm okay," I lied. My voice sounded thin, like paper. I think I might try to go to the grocery store tomorrow. Maybe try to drive." "That's great," Ethan smiled. It was a kind smile. A pitying smile. "Take your time. There's no rush. I'm here." But there is a rush. I know the clock is ticking now. 8 months. Zurich. Every step I take toward recovery is a step toward him leaving me. If I get better, I lose him. If I stay broken, I keep him, but I keep him as a prisoner who despises me. I look at him now, sleeping next to me. He doesn't touch me. We haven't been intimate since the night of the fever. I thought it was out of respect for my trauma. Now I know it's because I disgust him. He remembers me putting on that lipstick. He remembers me calling him dramatic. He remembers me choosing the wolves. I am trapped in this beautiful house with a man who is counting down the days until he can get rid of me. And the worst part? I can't blame him. I didn't lose my innocence that night. I threw away my protector. And now, I'm just waiting for the day he finally decides I'm strong enough to be abandoned. #trapped